Welcome to the ArmaniTalks YouTube channel. I'm your host, ArmaniTalks. In this channel, I'm covering communication skills for you to level up your way with words and become much more articulate. In today's episode, we're going to be talking about New York versus Chicago. Which one is better? And I believe if you understand the difference between these two and why a lot of people choose one side over the other, you will learn a ton about communication skills and human nature. If you're ready and excited for today's talk, drop that like for me right on below. When I was a little kid, I used to go to New York a lot. Other than Florida, I would be in New York consistently because a lot of my uncles, aunties, and cousins stayed there. I liked New York. It was a good place to visit, but this was never going to be a place that I wanted to live. I mean, there was one day I saw this big rat in Queens, and ever since I saw that rat, I associated New York with being a little dirty. I'm one of those guys that needs a cleanliness, and I didn't like the dirtiness of New York, even though it wasn't that dirty. But compared to Florida, yes, it was dirty. But other than that, New York has so many great things about it. You could do so many things, and like I said, a lot of my family was there, so it's not as though I ruled off New York as a place to visit. Now fast forward to 2017, there was this one week I had to go to Chicago for work. And when I went to Chicago, I was surprised. I couldn't believe it, but it felt like a clean New York. I mean, it also had cities, it also had skyscrapers, it also had culture, it also had amazing food, and it was clean. That entire week went by so fast, and I loved Chicago. By the time I went from Chicago back to Florida, I thought I had a new perspective. I started to go to different people who loved New York, and I'm like, have you been to Chicago yet? And they're like, yeah. I said, Chicago is better than New York, isn't it? And each time I would say that to someone, they would say, no, Armani, Chicago and New York are not the same. New York is way better than Chicago. I was trying to logically change these people's minds. I was like, no, guys, trust me, Chicago is better because Chicago, it's clean. But they didn't care about that. They were fixed into New York. Now, more time passes on by, and this whole debate between Chicago and New York is in the back of my mind. At this point, the debate that I'm really concerned about is Chipotle versus Qdoba. I mean, this was during the span that Chipotle was getting a lot of heat because, they weren't giving people enough meat. There was some sort of controversy with it causing food poisoning and others. It was catching a lot of heat. And Qdoba was getting a lot of great media coverage. I had a Qdoba right by me, so one day I went and I was asking the people, hey, how much extra is guac and queso? And they were like, hey, what's your name? I said, Armani. Armani, we're not like Chipotle. We toss in queso and guac. You could get as much as you want. And when they said that, I logically thought Qdoba was better because the food was good, but the fact that they give you unlimited guac and queso where Chipotle charges for it, I mean, the decision was made for me. So I started to now go to different people and I would say, guys, stop going to Chipotle, start going to Qdoba. And they wouldn't listen to me, just like a couple of years before with the whole Chicago-New York debate. I kept going to Qdoba until one day something happened. I was eating the Qdoba, but I noticed that I wasn't enthralled with Qdoba. Whenever I would get my bowl, I wasn't feeling as much emotions as I did with Chipotle. And I get it. Chipotle and Qdoba, logically speaking, you could make a compelling case for Qdoba. But there was this magic to Chipotle. It made me feel a certain type of way. I couldn't bring that sort of feeling to an argument. It's just something that was meant for me to experience. So I went back to Chipotle. I get it, Chipotle, you're catching a lot of heat right now, but I really feel good whenever I eat you. Qdoba, I like you, but I don't love you. And when I made that realization, I went to memory lane and I started to see what the people from New York and Chicago that debate were telling me. They said, yes, you could logically break down all the reasons for Chicago, but with New York, it's sort of like Chipotle. There's this magic to it. You just can't quantify it, Armani. And if you're looking for all these logical points, then you will completely overlook this intuitive part of the human experience. So this is one of the reasons also I would say Droid people and Apple people, they're always colliding with one another. A lot of Droid people, they come in with this overly logical mindset on why Apple people should switch over to Droid. But the Apple people, they don't care about the logic. They care about the feeling. If you understand the importance of feelings, especially within human experience, then you will understand why a lot of these debates are not one-sided. It's somewhat controversial, or the people that you think should not be winning are winning by a landslide. Chipotle is winning by a landslide compared to Qdoba. New York is winning by a landslide in comparison to Chicago. It's because of the element of human feelings. Factor that in and you will understand why human beings operate the way they do. If you enjoyed today's talk, drop that like for me right down below, hit subscribe, hit that bell notification, and never miss another episode again.